Hey there, everyone. I am just getting started and making sure that there's a few technical things going on. I'm going to stop my video for a second. Okay, there we go. All right, I can ignore that. And all right. Hey, okay, technology is working. So, welcome. I am so glad you're here. I'm so glad. Let me let Dana in. I am so glad you're here today. I'm going to be talking about mindset, metabolism, and the master switch for health. And I want to bring sort of everything together uh, on. On what we're going to be talking about. I have no idea how long this is going to go. So if you're watching and you need to leave, that's a-okay with me. I also want to let you know this is being recorded on YouTube. So if you don't, if you're here and you don't want your face to appear, that's fine to leave your screen completely blank. Totally and completely okay. And so let me pull up the chat too. I'm going to take a quick look. I'm going to mute participants just so nothing else comes through. And I'm going to take a quick look and keep an eye on the chat in case questions come through, because I do love questions. I might not answer them right away, but I do want to answer them because they're good questions. All right. So I know when I'm talking that I'm going to be talking about biological concepts today, mainly. And I am fully aware that I am simplifying things. That's okay. Sometimes you can get lost in terminology and different parts of the body, and that occasionally, actually frequently, it's best to sort of zoom out and look at the patterns of our biology with a big lens, rather than starting to, because we're going to be talking mostly about the nervous system today. Rather than talking about the nervous system in little parts like the amygdala, the hippocampus, the reticular activating system, yada, 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 well, I'm going to zoom out, and I'm not going to use a lot of medical terms. And we can go there at some point if you want, but they're not as helpful as some of the big concepts. And the big concept that I want to talk about today is that master switch for health. And it's not something that I ever learned in medical school. It's not something that's genuinely taught, but it does exist. And just because we don't acknowledge it doesn't mean that it isn't incredibly important. So let me explain, possibly using a little bit of sort of woo-woo language for a second. And you may have heard the concept that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And I do actually believe that. But our human bodies, the vehicles that we walk around on, are very much the biology of keeping us alive, of surviving, of making sure that we live as a species, that individuals live long enough to procreate. That is, from a biological standpoint and the standpoint of our body, that is our imperative. That is our biological imperative, survival. And so on the flip side, we've got this spirit. We've got this marvelous, expansive, full of ideas, full of creativity, full of desires and dreams and passions. We have this wonderful spirit, but it has to be expressed through our actual physical bodies. And our physical bodies, they're a great way to get around and do these things, but our physical bodies have this biological survival need, imperative. And it's sort of interesting that from a nervous system standpoint and the standpoint of the hormonal system. And so I think of those two together as one thing, the neurohormonal system. That part of us is constantly, repeatedly asking one single question all day long. And the question it's asking is, am I safe? 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 Just endlessly, endlessly. That is our neurohormonal systems, our nervous system's primary question on a given day. Not can I have fun, not can I be comfortable, not, none of these other things, not what can I do to help other people. At a real root level, a huge part of our nervous system is obsessed with our own safety. Now, on top of that part of the nervous system, we've got our brains, which have all of the wonderful stuff I talked about. But at the core, we cannot escape the fact that there's a big part of our nervous system that is beyond our conscious control, that is constantly looking to see whether or not we are safe. And this idea of safety is so important to us that the least little whiff, the tiniest little bit of anything that appears to look like danger, and the nervous system says, nope, not safe, not safe, I'm not safe. And it doesn't take much at all. It takes the tiniest little thing. For instance, you may have had a situation where you've been in a car driving and you've narrowly missed an accident. And some part of you, this has happened to me, but some part sort of takes over, puts on the brakes, steers the car, you avoid, you skid, you screech, you avoid the accident, nothing bad happens. It all happens before you're consciously registering, oh, I'm in danger. Your body's already acting. That's that part of you that's keeping you safe all the time. Now, the funny thing is, when you leave that, when you're done with that experience of the accident, you may feel okay until about 20, maybe 30 seconds later, maybe a minute later. And then, even though at that point you're safe, you will feel the adrenaline coursing through your body. You may get the shakes, you may get heart palpitations, you may feel sort of wired up and still nervous, even though your body is safe at that point. And that's because that little whiff of danger triggered an entire cascade of changes in your body. And once it's like opening up the floodgates, it just once that sense of danger is triggered, it just pours out. And you just have to let those hormones and neurotransmitters and all of those changes wash through you before you can get back to your normal. Before you can get back out, get rid of them. It's just that, it takes an instant before you can even react. Your body has gone off. It's like the horses are out of the barn and you are off into that survival mode. All right. So I was talking about our human biological parts of us that basically is asking, are we safe? Are we safe? It's our prey, it's like we still have our prey response when we were not the biggest, smartest things on the planet and we were under threat. We're still wired for that. Now, on what people don't recognize is that response can be triggered by pretty much anything. It does not have to be a car accident you were just in. It doesn't, or nearly in. It does not have to be a fire alarm that's going off or the smell of smoke. It does not have to be, a clap of thunder while you're walking outside. It can be anything that will answer the question, am I safe? And the part of your body that senses, am I safe? Am I safe? That cannot tell whether you're thinking about something in the past or something in the future or something that's happening now. It doesn't have the sensitivity to look at that, the time difference. It does not have the perspective to say, all right, this is something that I am concerned about in the future, but I'm perfectly safe now. That doesn't happen. You can envision, well, something that might happen that would not keep you safe in the future. And if you dwell on it for long enough and get that feeling of lack of safety, well, bam, you've got that same neurohormonal cascade that runs through you. And so we human beings with our big brains that like to plan and think and remember and draw conclusions and have this background idea of I need to stay safe, we are constantly monitoring and for danger and often seeing danger and triggering that survival mechanism all the time, and we don't even realize it. We don't even recognize that that's our mindset, is to look for danger. And that's where the mindset comes in. All right. Let me just see if there's questions. No questions at the moment. All right. So we talked about the survival mechanism, the survival drive that humans being have, and the entire way our biology is wired is to assume that there's danger and to react quickly to it. When we react to danger, when the body senses that there is something will threaten our survival, we've got three basic responses. And you've heard of fight. You've heard of flight, get ready to defend yourself, get ready to run away. But what happens for most people is there's this third response. It's the freeze response. It's hunker down. And that's what prey does. If you watch a rabbit that thinks it might be spotted will first get real small, stop moving, and not try to attract any attention. And you can watch a rabbit. It will stop breathing. It will stop moving. It will play as dead as possible. And then keep an alert for when it can then run away, right? So this hunker down, what I should say is the needs when your body are in the fight or flight response is a little different. Well, it's not that much different, but the needs in that survival mode of the body is either to have glucose, sugar, available for use immediately if your muscles need it, absolutely immediately, or to have it available as soon as possible if you're going to hunker down. And this is where the metabolism comes in. So that your metabolism is, maybe I should back up a second and say, the metabolism, the way we use food, the way we, and metabolism has to do with the way we take in oxygen. I mean, you metabolize oxygen, you metabolize food, you metabolize medications, you turn things, inert things, food, air, into energy. It is an almost magical process. We don't recognize it as such. It is an almost magical process. So the metabolism needs, when you are in the survival mode, change dramatically. They change to, I either need some fuel to to fight or run away very quickly, or I need to store this food. I need to store this food because I might need it again. Because if I'm in the hunker down stage, if I am freeze, if I'm hunkering down, it's, I may not know, from a standpoint, my survival might be threatened by lack of food, by lack of access to food, famine for centuries and centuries, millennia, was a huge cause of death and still is, unfortunately. So the body hunkers down, and we're still wired for that. And this is why metabolism can change. This is why metabolism changes when that survival system is on. Okay, so let me talk about the other side of this. So we have our survival the survival system in us, the neurohormonal system that asks, am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? Over and over. The opposite of this is what I call the thrive system. And this is the part of the body, I shouldn't say part, because it's not a part. It's the system, and it's the method of operating where your body repairs itself, digests food completely, is able to restore cell walls, is able to rebuild muscle, is able to rebuild, the vast number of cells that we need within us at all times, the vast number of cells that we make. The way the body works is you can only have one of these systems on at a time. You can only be in survival mode or thrive mode. You cannot and are never, ever in both at the same time. It does not matter what your brain may be telling you. Your brain may be saying, no, I'm perfectly safe. But if your body still at some level, in some way, is registering that need for survival, in any way, you are in survival mode. And the difference between how the body, like even down on the cellular level, how your body functions in thrive mode versus survive mode is dramatically different. And I don't really want to say that it's almost like two organisms, because that's not quite right. But the function is so incredibly different. Here's an example. A couple years ago, I was at my local Target, and the power went out. Don't know why. Power just went out to the whole neighborhood where the Target store was. And inside the Target, it still looked like a Target, right? There was, like, things were still on the shelves. There were still employees walking around stocking things, but the lights were on. It was just the emergency generator had gone on, and so the lights were really low. The elevator stopped working. The escalator stopped working. It's a 2-story Target. Nobody could check anything out. They were asking people to wait. They were going to have people come back online. The doors, the automatically opening doors just weren't. You had to shove them apart. So the function of the Target on low power was, yeah, it looks like a Target. There's stuff, you can go into it and you can get it and you can pick it off the shelves and you can bring it to the front. And yet, as a functioning store, it wasn't actually functioning optimally. So it was the same thing happens internally. So it's not quite like there's two bodies really, or two systems, but the functioning of your body is as different as the target when when the power is on and everything's working versus on generator power. That the concerns and what you do are totally different. And so the body looks the same, but the functioning inside on a very, very minute cellular level is completely different. And as I said, you don't have one on and both of them on a little bit. Like having the power on at the target, it's either on or it's off. You're either, fully repairing yourself, restoring, have normal metabolism, normal digestion, normal breathing, normal kidney function, normal, whatever it is, cellular repair, or you have this survival. Let's prepare to let's go on generator power. We're gonna survive, but we're not going to be able to fulfill all the functions. So there is this switch, I call it. The master switch for health isn't really so much a switch of turning off the survival mode, but really turning on the thriving mode, because that's the only way the survival mode turns off. We are, as I said, wired for survival, wired to look for danger, wired to respond on a hair trigger. You're like on a dime, you just go into it. And the only way to stop that survival mode from being your normal operating function, which I'll talk about in a second, is to turn on actively, to actively work on turning on your the part of your body that thrives, and flicking that switch. So it's not so much turning one off as it is turning the other on. Now, unlike a target on generator power or a store on generator power, or which could not function for a long time. Like, how long can a store run on generator power until they finally would close it and say, hey, look, we can't operate today. We can't function. Our doors aren't working. We can't check anyone out. Let's just everybody go home for the day and just close the door. Your body can actually function all right on the equivalent of running on generator power in this survive mode for years. But it does take a toll. It does actually change eventually organs wear out. And you can see this in things like high blood pressure, in chronic anxiety, in thyroid dysfunction, in people having problems getting pregnant, infertility, irritable bowel syndrome. You can see it in diabetes, and you can see it in your metabolism. And the metabolism, this process of changing food into fuel, is dramatically different, completely different pathways that are used when you are in survival mode versus in thrive mode. The body processes everything differently. So it may look like the same cells, it's still my intestines, it's still my intestines, it's still, my liver functioning, but how the machinery works is completely different. So hang on a second. Let me just take a quick look, because I had a couple notes. Let me see what I've got here. Yeah. Oh, right. So let me go back to that. I started off talking about how we are spiritual beings in having a physical experience, having a biological experience, and our biological body wants to stay alive. But our biological body will sacrifice pretty much anything to just stay alive. Your physical body doesn't really care if you're happy. It really doesn't. Your physical body will just doesn't give a damn, and will put up with, or will accept a very, very high degree of discomfort and dissatisfaction and frankly bad conditions in order to survive. Right? In order to survive. And you think, let's go back to the bunny, sort of like crouched and hiding. Now, does the bunny really want to be crouched and hiding in the tiny little spot and afraid all the time? No. No, the bunny doesn't. The bunny wants to be hopping around, meeting other bunnies, making more bunnies and things like that. But it will put up with staying crouched and hidden and silent as long as it feels that it's a predator is in the area. Like, that's just what a bunny will put up with. It's just what it wants to do. Or not wants, but that's what it will accept. That is the thing that it will accept as okay in this. So our bodies do the same. So I don't even want to say our bodies. Our survival mechanism more or less tricks us, really literally tricks us into accepting situations that are uncomfortable, make us unhappy, keep us from feeling fully sort of alive in order to stay safe. As I was at about 3 a.m. this morning, I woke up with this sudden inspiration because I knew I was going to be talking about this subject today, and thinking about Thomas Jefferson, and we are writing Thomas Jefferson writing life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which is written into the founding documents of the United States. Well, believe it or not, from a biological standpoint, life is in a totally different part of our physical functioning. Preserves life, and the other part preserves liberty and the pursuit of happiness. And the life part, the staying alive part, doesn't care about the other. Doesn't care about it at all. Does not give one moment of concern. But here's the crazy thing. The way that the thing that triggers that thrive mode are the very things that your nervous system, the survive mode, doesn't want you to do. Doesn't care. The things that you need to trigger your thrive mode are exactly the things that are considered unnecessary by your survival mechanism. All right. So what happens when you are pursuing some of the things that you would count as liberty and the pursuit of happiness, whether it's creativity, relationships, is it connecting with nature, is it being out and being seen, is it pursuing a passion, is it whatever those things are, when you are engaged in those activities, and really, I mean, fully immersed in them, fully enjoying them, fully feeling fully feeling and being really completely present with the things like hanging out with friends, or, gardening, or, or writing, or maybe you're, whatever it might be. Maybe it's, for me, it's doing something like this. Like when I'm fully here and fully present and fully engaged, I know that my body is responding by turning on that thrive system. My survival mode doesn't care. It doesn't want you to do any of those things because those seem like extras. They seem superfluous, unnecessary, unimportant. Uh, you don't really need that. Your survival mode says none of that's necessary. Just stay alive. Keep your heart beating. Keep your lungs breathing. And the secret to that master switch of your health is to do exactly what your survival mode says you shouldn't do, right? And it's exactly what your survival switch says. This isn't important. Because those things that you really enjoy, that your heart, your soul, your whole spirit is engaged in, that it feels connected to, those are the activities, those are the sets of thoughts, those are the sets of ideas that turn on, that are the master switch. You got to turn those things on before the survival mechanism will turn off. That is it seems and feels backward, but it is how the body works. It is actually, when you really look at it, this is actually how the body works. And I know I've said this before, but this is something that medical school does not cover. Medical training does not take this into account. And medical training, in fact, goes out of its way to ignore this, goes out of its way to ignore particularly the connections between doctor and patient, and the importance of that connection for starting this thrive mode. And you can see this in pretty much any medical study for a new drug that's done. New drugs are always compared to a placebo, something that is inert, something that, like a sugar pill. But under the right circumstances, sugar pills always work. They always work. Like the idea that the placebo effect doesn't exist or isn't important, well, it's proven every time there's a medical study, because placebos, I'm trying to think of a situation where a placebo actually hurt. And I cannot think of one in any study that I've ever seen where a placebo actually hurt a person. And they almost universally, I'm sure there's a place where it hasn't made much of a difference, but almost universally, placebos help. And it has to do with the care that a person's getting, the interest from the researchers, that it's that relationship and connection that's triggering the body into thrive mode. Now, yes, medications work, have some additional benefit, but what I see as a doctor is, without that specialized environment of the therapeutic environment, medications don't work the way they do in the studies. There's a lot of disappointing medicines out there that have a lot of promise in trials, a lot of promise in the lab, but when you get them into people, they don't work the way they're supposed to. They just don't. And that's because that relationship is one of the things that turns on your turns on your thrive mode. It is one of the things that triggers your body to repair itself. And so anytime you're using any sort of medication or supplement or herb or tincture or something to help your health, without your body being in the thrive mode. Oh, awesome. Thomas is here. I'll let him in. Without your body being in the thrive mode, it is unlikely to, oh, I'm gonna mute you, Thomas. There we go. And I'm just gonna stop your video for just a second. Oh, we can do that too. Okay, without your body being in the survive mode, then in the thrive mode, nothing is going to work. Nothing is going to work. No medicines, no supplements, no anything else is going to work. So let me see if there was something else I wanted to say. Yeah, so let's talk for just a second then about mindset. And then I'll bring it all together. So I love some of what some of people said about the mindset, about it being a set of ways that, beliefs that you have that you carry around with you everywhere. My my definition for mindset is pretty simple. It is the lens through which you see the world. The lens through which you see the world. Real easy. The interesting thing is, as I talked about at the beginning, because our biology, when we let our biological need for survival be the thing that covers our lens, then we end up with that being our mindset. So, as I said at the beginning, if we have that survival drive asking us constantly, am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? This is the mindset that you have. I mean, and it sounds a little funny. You say, well, no, I know I'm safe. But mindset is not, it's not subconscious, it's subconscious. It's something that goes deeper than what you consciously know that you're not paying attention to, which is what most people think of as their subconscious. But it goes actually even deeper to the things that just are color the way you see the world, about how the world is supposed to run in your own view. And you can't know what your mindset is until you come smack up against something that challenges it. And it's one of those situations where you're like, oh, I didn't know the world could go like that. I didn't know the world could go like that. Remembering that your mindset, let me see how I want to put this. The thing that is going to be at the root of your mindset, if it's default, is that question of safety and survival, right? Unless a person, someone goes out of your way to challenge your mindset, pretty much your mindset's going to be on that safety mode. And what seems safe to your body may be very different from what you intellectually know is safe. So you can be experiencing things that your mind says, I know this is okay. I know this feels safe, but my body is feeling different. My body is feeling completely, feeling like something's off. Something is wrong. And that is a great signal, a great moment to know that your mindset is still looking at safety and having that question of safety as primary in its mind or in your mind. And it goes, as I say, deeper than what most people think of as the subconscious. You know, most people think about the subconscious as being a group of beliefs that when you bring them up, you say, oh, yeah, I guess I am aware of that. I guess I am, but I'm not thinking about it constantly. This is deeper. This is something that is this unquestioned truth that forms the lens that you see the world through. And because most people are using um, that lens of, am I safe? Am I safe? My survival needs to be um, preserved at all cost. That lens keeps the body in that survival mode. Doesn't take much to turn it into the survival mode on any given day, which then has the ripple down effect of changing how all of your body biochemistry functions, including your metabolism, which is one of the most basic things. So I just want to take another look and see if there's anything else that I wanted to say. Anybody have any questions? Anybody want to type something into the chat and I can answer it? Once again, we are on streaming on YouTube. It's going to be something that I share in the group. So if you don't want to show your face or be identified, you don't have to. Okay. I'm not seeing anything. If you're typing away, type all you'd like. So I want to assign a little exercise, a little experience for you to think about, and sort of over the next day. Here's what I'd like it to be. Between now and the time I go live tomorrow, let me see how to do this. You could do a couple different things. What you're going to do is have some way just to make hash marks or record incidents, so that nothing has to be written out. There's nothing more. So you could just, take a little Post-it note if you wanted to, and write, just keep hash marks on a little pencil or a pen with you. And the question to ask yourself, and put a little mark every time the answer is yes, is to ask, how many times did I say to myself, oh, that's not a good idea. Oh, that's not safe. Oh, that's not something I should do. Or have a thought, a memory, a plan, or something where you think, oh, that's not a good idea. That's not safe. That's not something that's that feels right. To recognizing, just taking a while to recognize how often it is that this, am I safe? Am I safe? Is answered by no for you. Because the key to that master switch, to changing the whole way your body functions, including how your metabolism, but everything else about it, is to have that question answered, am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? With yes, of course I am. Yeah, I'm totally safe. I'm fine. Everything's good. I'm fine. I am totally safe. and we'll talk more about that another time, but between now and tomorrow, just keep a little tally of how many times a thought, a memory, a projection, a future thought, anything comes up where you would say, "Oh no, that's not a good idea. No, I don't think that's a good idea. That doesn't feel safe. That doesn't feel." Would your prey instinct, like your would your survival lens, would your survival mindset say, "Oh no, that doesn't feel safe. That doesn't feel safe. I don't feel, and I don't feel either included. I feel exposed. I feel like my survival is threatened. I don't feel understood. I don't, all of these things make humans feel unsafe. It's not just, there's water on the floor and I might fall. That's a real thing. It's all of those other human things that has to do with, do I feel as alive as possible? Am I pursuing the liberty and happy part of the life, liberty and happiness? Do I feel like those are, do I feel that I'm losing either liberty or happiness, or actual life and limb? Like, is there something truly worrisome, or is there something that appears from a human standpoint, and the human needs are like food and companionship and tribe? How often, really, how often would you answer that question? Am I safe? With a no, no, I won't. And it'll be interesting. I'd love to see, maybe tomorrow you can like sort of post your hash marks. So like, oh, I had 5 incidents where that came up, or I had none, which would be great. Or I had 5, or I had, too many to count, or I was up all night with it. So I'd love to hear. Okay. Oh, maybe too many times to count. All right. All right. Well, that's so A, awesome that you notice that. Not awesome that it's happening, but awesome that you're noticing it. Awesome that you're noticing that. That is not, we're going to talk about what we do to change that over the next couple days. But this is an important first step. And it is, may repeat a little bit of something that I'm going to do tomorrow, but it is important to honor and acknowledge where you are right now. Like where you are right now with whatever it is. This is the part of learning and experiencing. As I said in my video yesterday, you don't feel health. You don't, excuse me, you don't learn how to be healthy. You have to feel healthy. So this is the start of now feeling healthy. This is the start of this new way of being, this new way of resetting the whole neurohormonal system, is to say, wait, so there is something there. And just like you wouldn't be angry with yourself for, let's say, you wanted to learn Italian, you wouldn't be angry with yourself on the first day of Italian before your classes even start that you don't know Italian. No, you just say, okay, I'm here to learn Italian. So, hey, I'm here to learn how to switch my mindset and use my mindset for my master switch for health. And so good, you're here. This is perfect. This is awesome. All right. Any other questions or any other comments right now? All right. Okay, well, perfect. I will see you all tomorrow. It'll be the same link, but I'll post it tomorrow and I'll make sure everybody gets it. Same link, same time. Happy to see you. And I love comments. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect, Dana. I love comments. So I will be posting as well in the Facebook group this whole video. And so, if you take a few seconds and think about, reflect on this for yourself and, say it aloud. There is something that happens when you speak it, and it's a magical thing. Okay, I will leave it there.